Hello, welcome back to the next session on satellite communications. This is a very short session. It's about the theory of communications, which could be an extremely big topic. However, for the purpose of the system design of a satellite, I would like to give you an extremely brief overview. Basically, as I said, just give you the idea. We have to transmit data from the satellite to the ground station. What I mentioned before, we have our satellite digital data here, and we want to bring it down to the ground. And the biggest question of all is, how much data per time can I get to the ground? That's my all important question. How much data can I transmit? Or can we transmit? We're all together in this, no? And actually, we want to have it per time, no? Or per second, let's say. No? Usually you want lots of data, no? In only a few seconds, no? Okay, what's limiting us? And this is not so easy to answer this question. However, there was a smart guy named Claude Shannon, and he developed in the 1950s the theory of information. It's not that old. It's basically like 60, 70 years old, the theory, which is a fundamental theory of how you can exchange information, no? From a transmitter to receiver, from one person to another. No? When I talk to you right now over this microphone, this is also limited by Claude Shannon's information theory. So how does it work? I just give you the extract of it. The main point here is that Shannon developed a formula, this one here, which brings everything down to one single point. No? There's a so-called channel capacity C, which is our bits per second, no? Or per time transmitted. And transmitted. So basically tells us so many megabits per second I can transmit. When you have your internet connection and you have 25 megabit per second, that's your channel capacity you have. No? And this channel capacity, interestingly, depends only on three things. It depends on the bandwidth you have in your system, and it depends on your signal strength you have, and it depends on the noise you have. And that's why these three numbers are the numbers we have to optimize. And you get when you look at this graphically, you get a cube. You have 3 dimensions. One dimension is the bandwidth. Let's make it big here. One dimension is your bandwidth. The more bandwidth you have, the bigger your cube becomes in this direction. No? So in order to make the cube big, you have to allocate a big frequency range. And also you can, by using certain modulating types, you can also increase this bandwidth that's transmitted. The second parameter, which spans your cube, is the signal strength. The bigger your signal strength, the bigger your cube becomes. And the signal strength is not an absolute value, it's basically the signal strength related to the noise. No? Yes, your noise. So actually it's S over N. So the more your signal stands out of the noise, the more data you can transmit. It's kind of logical when I talk to you and there's a lot of noise surrounding me and I'm not talking very loudly, I'm talking with a low voice, low in volume, then it's difficult for you to understand me. When I'm very loud, then it's easy for you to understand me. And the louder I talk, the more volume I have, the more information I can stuff into that. I come back to this in detail when we talk about the digital modulation schemes. That basically what it means is the more signal you have, the better. The less noise you have, the better. And there's a little side effect, unfortunately, on the noise. Maybe I mentioned that. The noise N is proportional to the bandwidth. And again, I explain this in detail later, but that's a big problem. When you make your bandwidth big, then you also make your noise big. And when you make your bandwidth small, then you make your noise small. And that way you can, these are your knobs you can turn on in your system. And the third dimension, it's clear, is your time. The more time you have, the more information you can transport. And all three together, signal times bandwidth times time, that's the amount of data you transmit in gigabyte. And you have several options now to change that. When you want to transmit a lot of data, you can go either with a big signal strength and a big bandwidth, then you need very little time, or you have little bandwidth and little signal strength, then you need a lot of time. You all know this when you are using your cell phone. When you have a big signal strength because you are close to a base station tower, so you're next to a transmitter, then you get a very big signal. And then when you get a very big signal, then you need very small amount of time to receive your email or whatever, your video you get from a friend. When your signal strength is low, you're far away from a base station, then you need much more time to get the same information. Basically, you stretch out your cube in this direction. Also with the bandwidth, when you are in a 4G network, you get more bandwidth allocated. That means you get bigger data rates and you need less time. When you're in a generation 3 GSM network, the so-called edge, when there's an E in your display of your cell phone, E basically stands for extremely slow. That's, you get very little bandwidth. That's the edge system that has very little bandwidth. And this is how it all comes together. And as an engineer, there's no bad or good system. Well, there is, but there's no bad bandwidth or good bandwidth or bad signal strength and good signal strength. It all depends on your application. As an application here, I have my watch. My watch has a built-in receiver for the time signal transmitted in Frankfurt. And the signal that this watch receives is extremely small. It's in the order of femtowatts. So how could this possibly work? Well, it works because you have a lot of time and I need only very little information to transmit. I only need to transmit the time, the date, and if it's daylight saving time or not. That's all it's transmitted. And this transmission is, since it's only few data, you need a small box only. And this works because even though you have an extremely small signal from Frankfurt and you have an extremely small bandwidth, you have lots of time. It takes 60 seconds to receive the signal and you have only a few amount of data. And you see it works. If I want to use the same channel for transmitting, let's say, a high definition video, it's completely impossible because you need extremely long time. Let's say you want to transmit the volume of this cube with this system, you need lots of time. So it's extremely slow. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but Lord of the Rings movie, transmitting it onto this watch would take like 50 years. So that's how the things come together. Okay, so our goal now is to design a satellite system that has reasonable signal strength for the given bandwidth, because usually the bandwidth is given. I showed it to you in a second. That transmits it in a reasonable time. Because I told you already, your contact time to the satellite is limited. So basically, when you have 10 minutes only, in your project work, then you have to squeeze it somehow that you can transmit that. No? A last word on bandwidth. So I explained all of that. Bandwidth is the most valuable thing in the world. No? More valuable than gold and diamonds and so on. Here you see the spectrum from I think 30 megahertz up to 3000 gigahertz, and you see the electromagnetic spectrum is covered with lots of services. No, there's mobile radio, there are amateur radios here, broadcasting TV, broadcasting radio. Here's FM radio, for example, no? From 88 megahertz to 108 megahertz. Aeronautical navigation. Everybody wants to transmit and receive electromagnetic waves. That's why people have to fight for the frequency ranges, no? And everybody wants to get as much bandwidth as possible here, no? So, and you see a lot of the bandwidth is taken, and in this yellow areas you have mobile phone services. I marked them because with 5G you get new frequency ranges associated with it, and you get more bandwidth, basically. No? That's what one of the things 5G is all about. And when you look here, you can see I need a color. That's there. For example, there's here fixed radio satellite services at 4 gigahertz. Then there's also at 10 gigahertz satellite services. All the purple stuff is usually satellites. Here's a satellite band. Here are some satellite bands and so on. No? Here's another satellite band. So, but you're restricted to these bands. No? You cannot transmit and receive wherever you want, because at this other frequency, aeronautics want to do something. No? So, and you see this is a typical C-band here. No? I explained last time. And this is typical X-band. No? And this is typical KU band, K-band. No? So these are the main ranges for satellite services. And this is L-band, where we have all this GPS and so on. No? So here's a little blow up of the typical satellite links, satellite bands. So I showed it to you, no? The big C-band here is here. There's the X-band communication, KU band, and so on. No? There's a roughly, depending on the band, they have different services. As I said, in the low frequency bands, you typically have GPS and Galileo and so on. At C-band, you have the relay satellites, and at X-band, you have your TV satellites. No? That's convenient. Otherwise, you have to switch the technology for receiving and transmitting depending on which satellite you receive. No? Okay, that's it already for the small introduction into information theory. Please keep in mind it's all about signal strength, noise, and bandwidth. And time. No, you have. And all these things, let's see if this works here. They are interconnected with each other somehow, no? And you have to keep the balance of the four things. No? And that's what we're gonna have, what we have to deal with in the next chapters. First, we have to understand how these antennas and the RF links work. Then, as I said, you have to understand noise. And then when everything comes together, you, from the antennas and the RF link, you know the signal. From the noise chapter, you know the noise, and the bandwidth is given usually. Then you can find the optimal solution for transmitting a signal in the so-called link budget. No? Our final goal for next week. Okay, thanks for listening and see you again.